Hello and welcome. Yes, welcome to a new edition of Richard Vaughan Live. Here I am, Inglés en TV. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm glad to be here. Are you glad to be here? Pues ya somos dos. ¿Cómo se dice ya somos dos? Es más complicado en inglés. Eso hace dos de nosotros. Me alegro yo, te alegras tú. Ya somos dos. I'm glad to be here and you're glad to be here. That makes two of us. Dos de nosotros. That makes two of us. So we're both glad to be here. Are you looking forward to this program? Are you looking forward to the future? Are you anticipating the future with positive energy? Huh? Are you? I hope so. It's a bit sad. Pobreza de espíritu es no encarar el futuro con energía positiva. Are you ready to conquer the world? No? I'm too old to conquer the world. You're not too old. Probably. You're not too old to conquer the world. For me, it's too late. I'm not going to conquer the world. But you? Why not? But let's start with Natasha Zarakovich. Natasha Zarakovich. She's Russian. She is studying to improve her English because she wants to take the state exam. If she passes the exam, she automatically receives a raise in her salary. She's working in the Russian State Laboratory, or as the British say, the Russian State Laboratory, the Russian lab, which analyzes drugs and pharmaceutical products. She's a chemist. She's 27 or 28, I don't remember. I don't remember how old she is. Natasha Zarakovich, how old are you? She is 28. She lives with her mother and her younger brother. Her mother is a widow and doesn't work. The younger brother is a student and he doesn't work. So the only breadwinner, la única ganadora de pan, el único ganador de pan, se dice así. The only breadwinner is Natasha. She goes to work every day, very early, to the lab. 3 subway stops. It's not very far. And then she finishes at 4:30. Sometimes she stays late to continue working, but not very often. And when she finishes at 4:30, she often goes to the National Library, which is located near the laboratory, to read English in preparation for her exam. Okay, and she's never traveled because her mother they don't have enough money. So she's never been more than 50 kilometers outside of Moscow. Now, she has a cousin, un primo, by the name of André. Now, André is 1 year younger than Natasha. Many years ago, when Natasha's father was alive, they lived next door to each other, the two brothers, Natasha's father and Natasha's uncle. They lived next door to each other. And when Natasha was 5 or 6 years old and André was 5 years old. And of course, the two cousins played together. But André was a bad boy. He was always hitting Natasha. But then Natasha's uncle, who is an aeronautical engineer, was transferred by the Russian government in un convenio, in a type of agreement with the British government for collaboration. Her uncle was transferred to Glasgow in Scotland to work in the design in an aircraft factory. And so, but then after the breakup of the Soviet Union, the collapse of the Soviet Union, then her uncle decided to stay and managed to get a residency in Great Britain, in the United Kingdom. And the family has been living there for the past 25 years or 23 years. Now, Andrei, her cousin, sends letters to Natasha from time to time. And in every letter, he invites her to go to Scotland. He said, come to Scotland, come on. You've never been more than 50 kilometers outside of Moscow. Come and visit us. It would be fantastic. But it costs money. But what happened recently, me pican la nariz con tus polvos. And what happened recently was that Andrei found a new job. And in his new job, he's earning twice as much. 2 times more, twice as much. And after the first 2 or 3 months, he had some extra money. And so he bought a ticket for Natasha to fly from Moscow to London to Edinburgh, to Glasgow. And so now Natasha is in Glasgow. She's in Glasgow. Natasha Zarakovich thought she knew English well. However, her first days in Scotland made her think otherwise. Okay, Natasha Zarakovich thought she knew English well. Natasha thought that she knew English well. And that is opcional en medio. She thought she knew. Pensé que sabía yo. I thought I knew. She thought she knew. He thought he knew. They thought they knew. We thought we knew. Pensábamos que sabíamos. Inglés muy bien, ella. She thought she knew English well. But, however, her first 2 days in Scotland made her think otherwise. Made her think differently. De forma diferentemente. Made her think otherwise. Le hizo pensar de otra manera. Mi inglés da pena. Because she couldn't understand. Of course, if you go to Glasgow, it's impossible to understand the people. For me, the most difficult accent in the United Kingdom is in Glasgow. The second most difficult is Cockney in East London. The third most difficult is Geordie in Newcastle. The fourth most difficult is Mancunian in Manchester. The fifth most difficult is Scouse in Liverpool. The sixth most difficult is in Yorkshire, Bradford, Sheffield, etc. York, and and some of the other cities, Sheffield, Scarborough, etc. But in Glasgow, for me, is number one. I remember meeting a young man from Glasgow, and I didn't know if he was speaking to me in English or in Dutch. In holandés, ¿qué idioma hablan? Es inglés. It was English. It's easier for me to understand a porteño from Buenos Aires or a gaditano cerrado than to understand a person from Glasgow. And so Scotland, her first contact, Natasha's first contact with a native English-speaking country is in Glasgow, Scotland. Fijaos en la pronunciación de Escocia, Scotland. Casi no digo la D al final, pues te la puedes comer. Scotland, como si terminase en N. Scotland. Aquí, debido a las películas inglesas, dicen Scotland Yard. Y eso deforma la forma de decir Scotland. The Scottish people live in Scotland. And the whiskey is called Scotch. But you don't say the Scotch people. You say the Scottish people. So Natasha Zarakovich thought she knew English well. However, her first 2 days in Scotland made her think otherwise. She arrived on Friday, the 22nd of December. Very cold. It's very dark in December, the 22nd of December. The 21st of December is the shortest day of the year. So you can imagine in Scotland, at 4 o'clock, nighttime. Okay. So, and it's very cold. Se nota. If you have the book, you can see the picture. And Andrei is very, very cold. Natasha, no, because Moscow is much colder than Glasgow. So for her, it's fine. All right, she arrived on Friday the 22nd and spent Saturday and Sunday with her cousin Andrei and his family. In the evenings, she went out with Andrei and his friends, and a group of friends. She didn't have any trouble understanding the family because they spoke Russian or English with a slight Russian accent. But the evenings were different. She had a lot of trouble understanding Andrei's friends. She had to make a big effort every time they said something to her. You know, that's frustrating. I mean, when people speak to you in a language that you have been studying for a long time, and you can't understand them. Excuse me, could you repeat, please? Estás en un apuro. ¿Qué hago? ¿Le hago repetir por octava vez? Yeah. I said, I'm sorry, I just can't understand you. Yeah. It's interesting that when you travel to another country, for example, to the United States, Canada, England, Scotland, Ireland, Australia, you will encounter probably two types of people. Well, concerning language. People who have experience speaking to foreigners, and people who don't have experience speaking to foreigners. People with experience speaking to foreigners can modify their speech to be better understood. But people who don't have experience, they don't know how to change. ¿Qué vas a hacer mañana? What are you going to do tomorrow? Okay. For an English speaker who has experience dealing with foreigners who don't understand English perfectly, they will say, well, what are you going to do tomorrow? But other people with no experience say, what are you going to do tomorrow? I say, excuse me? What are you going to do tomorrow? Excuse me, I don't understand. What are you going to do? You know, they say it louder. They don't know how to articulate and to separate because they've never done it in their life. There are a lot of people who have never dealt with foreigners in their life. I remember once coming back, I was by train. I was on a train from Geneva, Switzerland, Ginebra, Geneva to Bilbao, Madrid, Geneva, crossing France to Bilbao, and then from Bilbao, changing the train and coming to Madrid. But I remember I was sitting in a train compartment, los compartimentos antiguos de tren, ¿te acuerdas? And I was sitting there, and I don't remember, maybe in Lyon or in Toulouse, two people got on and sat opposite me. A man, Vasco, he had a La Boina Vasca, probably 80 years old, with a cane, un bastón aquí, sentado. Yeah. And next to him was his granddaughter, probably 25 years old. And they were together. And we struck up a conversation. To strike, tiene muchos significados. Uno es golpear. To strike. Otro es strike, un strike de béisbol. Strike one, strike. Strike también es lucky strike, que es hallazgo afortunado. To strike gold, hallar oro. o petróleo. Strike. It's a lucky strike. Strike también es un pleno en bolos. Strike. Streaky. Strike. Lightning streak. No, eso no. But strike is golpear. But to strike up is entablar una conversación. To strike up a conversation. I was speaking with the granddaughter, and we were speaking. And every time I said something in Spanish, the man said, "Monday." He didn't understand me. And the granddaughter said, "Abuelito, ha dicho que papá." And then we can say, "¿Cómo? ¿Qué ha dicho?" The Basque man couldn't understand my Spanish and she said, "Es que nunca ha oído hablar a extranjeros en español." He's never heard foreigners speak Spanish, so it's like a different language for him. So remember this when you travel abroad. But in this case of Natasha, she felt embarrassed because she kept having to ask his friends to repeat everything. Yeah, she felt embarrassed. She felt embarrassed. Se sentía violenta o apurada. O sea, situación embarazosa. Claro, en inglés decimos se sentía embarazada. It's Spanish, strange language. Why do you say embarazada for pregnant? I don't understand. When I came to Spain, I said, "Embarazada? It's pregnant? Okay." All right. She felt embarrassed because she kept having to ask Andre's friends to repeat. She kept having. Seguía teniendo que pedir que repitieran. She kept having to ask his friends to repeat. And you know what's bad is at night, in the evenings, they often go to discos, to discotheques. Then there's a lot of music and noise. It's even more difficult. There's a lot of music in the background. Yes, okay. You don't say. There are two possibilities, yes or no. All right, but in any case. So she felt embarrassed. She felt embarrassed. Richard, yeah. Do you feel embarrassed sometimes? Never. At my age, after so many years, you don't feel embarrassed. You never feel embarrassed. Maybe if you're young, maybe yes. Maybe you feel embarrassed, but I'm not. I haven't felt embarrassed in 30 years, maybe. I don't remember the last time I felt embarrassed. Tierra trágame. I don't know. I don't remember the last time I felt embarrassed. But usually I don't create situations in which I could feel embarrassed. All right. But in any case, later Andre told her not to worry about it. Yeah, later Andre said, "No te preocupes, son mis amigos." Besides, Natasha's very attractive. She's good looking. Natasha's really good looking. And so, of course, these young boys, these 20s, well, young, they're about 25, 26, could be interested in Natasha from a affectionate point of view. You never know. And so Andre knew that by the time she left for Moscow in early January, she would understand everyone quite well. I don't agree with that. He said, Natasha said, "I feel embarrassed." Well, she said in Russian to Andre, "I feel embarrassed because I can't understand a word they're saying. I can't understand. No puedo entender ni una palabra de lo que dicen. I can't understand a word they're saying. I can't understand a word they're saying." Así lo decimos. No entiendo nada de nada. I can't understand a thing. O sea, no puedo entender una cosa. No puedo entender una palabra de lo que dicen. I can't understand a word they're saying. I can't understand a thing. I can't see a thing. No veo ni una sola cosa. I can't see a thing. A thing, a word. etc. But André said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No te preocupes. Don't worry, pero solemos añadir acerca de ello, sobre ello. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. By the time you leave in early January, you'll understand people quite well. Yeah, André told her. He said, by the time you leave, para cuando ya te marches, en enero, cuando ya vuelvas, by the time you return to Russia, you'll understand people quite well. Which probably is not true, in my opinion. It takes a long time. It takes a long time, a lot of exposure to finally understand, especially in Scotland. Especially in Scotland. They have a very interesting accent. All right. So, yes, on Saturday afternoon, after lunch, André took Natasha to Edinburgh. Edimburgo, se pronuncia en inglés Edinburgh. Edinburgh. Ahora los escoceses suelen decir, creo, Edinburgh, bra, como si fuera B-R-A, bra. Edinburgh. Edinburgh. Here in Edinburgh. It's beautiful, eh? Edinburgh is beautiful. Edinburgh. Edinburgh. It's a beautiful city. If you've never been to Edinburgh, I highly recommend it. It's a very interesting city. There are two parts to Edinburgh. The new city, which is 200 years old, and the old city, which is very, very old. And in the middle, there's a big gorge. Gorge es casi una garganta geológica, pero con hierba verde. Pues, yeah, I think it's about 45 degrees, no, but maybe 30 degrees. So it's steep. Steep as empinado, but it's beautiful grass. In 1974, when I was 22, I went with a friend by bus from London to Edinburgh. And I remember sitting on that incline and I fell asleep. I slept for an hour in that park. In the summertime, it was a humid warmth. It was very, very, and I woke up fresh. But just across is the Castillo de María Estuardo, Reina de los Escoceses. It's a beautiful, beautiful city, really, Edinburgh. So they went to Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland. She had never seen such a beautiful city. Bueno, Moscow is a very beautiful city. She had never seen, pluscuamperfecto, nunca había visto una ciudad tan bella, tan hermosa. She had never seen such a beautiful city. Wow, Moscow is beautiful. Eh? They're different. Moscow is very big. Red Square is equally beautiful. Red Square, Plaza Roja, con San Basilio y otros, very, very beautiful. Incredibly beautiful. And Edinburgh as well. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up means it's un empate. A toss-up means tienes que echar una moneda. Toss a coin, heads or tails. Heads or tails, that's a toss-up. It's a toss-up between Edinburgh and Moscow. All right. But in any case, so she spent more than half an hour standing in Princes Street looking across at the castle of Mary, Queen of Scots. The new city, which is not very new, the main avenue is called Princes Street. Calle de los Príncipes. Suena princesa. Princess. Prince is príncipe. Prince. Prince Valiant. Prince. Princess is la princesa. Princess. All right, prince, princess, no problem. But the problem starts when it pluralizas príncipe. Princes, princess, princes. Princess. Can you hear the difference? Yeah. Okay, so they have Princess Street. Is one of the most important, well, probably the second most important street in Edinburgh. The Royal Mile, La Milla Real, on the other side, is the most famous and most important street in Edinburgh. But she was standing on Princess Street looking across the gorge at the castle. The castle is up. Wow, it's really impressive. It's really impressive. Impresivo, no? Impresionante. Impresionante. Expresivo o expresionante. No. Es que no, lo digo a propósito. Impresionante, expresivo. Diferentes terminaciones en español y en inglés, no. Impressive, expressive. O sea, fue impresivo. All right, it was impressive, impresionante. It was impressive. Natasha, okay, good. ¿Dónde estoy? It was a cold and windy day. Un día frío y ventoso. All right. It was a cold and windy day. And Andre wanted to go inside a pub, but Natasha said, no problem. I'll continue the story. I'll finish the story tomorrow. Take care.